Hi, all. Welcome you back to this lovely Sunday. And now we are going to start with our next podcast show on searching jobs in the right way. So, I've been contacted by many of you who are been facing troubles on how they are finding to search the jobs and they are not getting calls from the recruiter, or sometimes they're getting calls from the recruiter, but they are not getting converting that interview calls into actual jobs. So, one of the problem that I see with people is that they are not searching the jobs in the right way. They are not following the lean canvas of job cycle, that how they should proceed with the jobs and what are the various bottleneck they receive. So if you have a better understanding of on your job search strategy, that the strategy with which you are looking for jobs, is it right or it is not, and what kind of problems you could face in between, so that would be very beneficial for you. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to share my screen and I'll tell you the agenda of the topics that we are going to discuss in this podcast show today, and we'll carry on from there. I hope you are all able to now see my screen here, that we are going to talk about searching jobs in the right way. I am your presenter, Raghav Dikshit. I'm going to present the following agenda for you. So you can see on my screen that we have the agenda. We'll first talk about a typical job search graph. What is a various life cycle of an applicant when he goes for a job search? What are the problems he sees, and what kind of emotional? I would say the job search criteria is more about your behavioral aspects rather than your technical aspects. So we'll talk about your job search graph. Then we'll talk about the lean canvas of jobs, what is required, what is not required, what should be followed, what should not be followed, and what kind of help you could take. So these all things would be part of your lean canvas of jobs. Then we'll talk about the third topic of the day, that is the deadly mistakes that you need to avoid while the job search. Most of the people, rather I would say that 75-80% of people do the same mistakes, do the follow the same strategy that everybody does, and that's the problem, that you get the same results which everybody gets, that is either a decline or an ignorance from the employer. Next, we are going to talk about finding opportunity versus creating opportunity. You could find an opportunity or you can create an opportunity. It depends what approach you are following through to that. After that, we'll talk about what is the right process of job search, what you should follow, and then we'll talk about the most and I would say most important part of this podcast show, that is understanding the skill gap and how to bridge that gap. There has always been a skill gap between the job description and you, and how you would analyze that and how you would bridge that. And finally, we'll come back to a Q&A, where I will be discussing your questions and answers in between this podcast. Anytime, if you feel, if you get a click of your question into your mind, just post it over there, and I will be taking it by 3:40 or 3:45 during the last 10-15 minutes. Okay, so let's start our show. I've told you about a bit of myself already. So I'll move your typical job searching cycle. You would see this graph that is going up. First, it goes up, then down, then up, then down, down, down. Finally, you reached out to a bottom, and then you finally get into something. So it's very rare that it's a fact that some people go and some people grow here. So it depends upon your mindset. Usually, in terms of Indians, I've seen that there is, no matter for which consideration people are coming over here, but I've seen a very limited few of Indians going back to the country again. Either they get jobs early or they get jobs late. Either they just get the target jobs or they get the backup jobs. But usually I see as an Indian that most of the Indians are having good mindset to struggle over in the market, and they finally get something, no matter it's like it's a desirable job or dream job or something they don't like it. But I see that most of the people get something out of it. So I'll briefly summarize that what are the emotional aspects, what are the various things that you would encounter during a job search cycle. You will start it from here, from the ground level. You will have internal motivations. You will see that, okay, I'm into now job fight mode. I'll give a tough fight to my competitors, finally land up some jobs. You see that the type of jobs you are looking for, these are available in plethora and LinkedIn jobs or in Irish jobs. You'll find them all away, and this would motivate you well. Finally, you will make up your resume, you'll edit your resume, and you will start applying, and you will be top of your motivation at that point of time. Soon you'll find the realization that your demand in the market is not that much. You are not even getting a single call. Even if after a month, if a candidate doesn't get a call, maybe a month or maybe 1.5 months, you don't get a single call. This is not an exceptional phenomenon. This is very common. It happened with me as well. So it is nothing to be bothered about. This is something rather you need to look upon, that what are the mistakes I'm making in. So you are at the bottom of this graph. You see people are not in my demand. What should I do? Further, you find that, okay, you have got a call. You are happy that you have got a call, but you soon get rejected because you're not on stamp 4. That's another problem you would face. You'll feel like very demotivated, that all I'm getting either rejections, all I'm getting to ask for a stamp 4. So you'll not get anything. You'll try repeatedly again and again. You'll try applying for more jobs. You'll try to apply in all the job portals which is there and available in the over the internet. You'll do everything, and luckily you'll get first call. And when you'll get first call, you'll think that, oh, that's great. But unfortunately you may not be selected on that, so possibly that you'll get a rejection. When you will get this rejection after first or second calls, then you would be, I would say, a bottom of your demotivation. You will see that you may start thinking that this is not a market for myself. I have made a big mistake coming here in Ireland. Or you would say that maybe the course was not good, maybe I am not a good fit over here. All these are emotional aspects. These should not be bothered by you. These are very common to you, and these are happening with every candidate. I have never seen any candidate who is not going through all this cycle of job hunting. So even if you are at this level where you are completely demotivated, you are thinking that I'm not good for anything, you should be happy that this is the bottom part of your job search, and next time you'll go further and further. So it's you should be happy about it, that the next cycle is going on the upward trend, and you would definitely get some kind of traction from the market. So once you are at the bottom side, then you will look for your mentors, or you will look for something that, okay, I'm not able to good enough to do it by myself. I need to have some mentor, someone who's experienced enough, who could help me with something. So you will get a mentor, that mentor. But the problem with the mentor is that if it is a mentor on voluntary basis, he may not be available for you most of the times. So if he is not available you for most of the times, you'll again find reaching out to the mentor, that mentor is not giving you time. He's just giving you a dry feedback, which is not good enough. Maybe you'll get for the paid mentor or something. Finally, after getting a help from mentor, coach, or someone who is senior to you, you will get your resume editing. You'll find out what mistakes you're making in, and then you'll get finally start getting calls. You'll get rejected by some of the calls. Then you will learn something. So it's all about making mistakes, learning from mistakes, and after that, not repeatedly doing the same mistakes again and again. You'll get again calls. Some of the calls you get rejected, some of the calls will move you further. Finally you get a selection, and finally you will get an offer letter. This is a typical life cycle of how you would get the jobs. This is a job growing season, at least for the people perspective, employees, not for the employers, because this summer season is usually for holidays, and August is, as I told in my last podcast, August is completely holiday season, so not much of the hiring goes in August and December. So this is something, if any of these are happening to you, you should not be worried about. This is something very typical, very common. So get out of it, I would say that. So, next is the important part of this podcast. I will talk about the lean canvas of jobs. You need to look about all these 10 constituents of the lean canvas of jobs. You need to understand first, most of the things that we have the problem, we are not searching for jobs in a structured manner. We are searching for job in a very haphazard manner. We are not following the algorithm. Even if we are doing a programming language or data analytics, we are not applying that into our actual job searching mode. What you need to do is, you need to first understand what is your target role. What is the role you're targeting out? You're targeting to be a manager, you're targeting to be a business analyst, you're targeting to be a data analyst, or whatever it is. You need to find a target role. You don't need to have a hazy understanding of the roles that you're looking for. Second, you need to understand that what are the top 6 companies you would like to work for. What is your dream companies? And you can segregate into, I would say, 3 factors. One is your dream levels. Second, the achievable levels. Some of the company, if you talk about getting into Facebook or LinkedIn, it may be very difficult for you, but getting into Accenture or getting into Deloitte may not be that difficult for you. So segregating the six companies into three types, something like this: what is your dream company, what is your actual company that you can get into after some struggle, and next is what is the low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit, you may keep it as some some, I would say, startups or some small companies, or maybe the companies which you would think that this is something, you are coming from a big brand and now you'll move on to a small company, then it would be very easy for you to get in. So just segregate the companies into three levels: dream companies, okay to go, and low hanging fruits. And you should track these companies most often. You should go on these sites, you should look for this news about these companies, you should look for Irish Times to see about if there is anything news coming on with these companies, whether they are increasing the base size, they are increasing the market, or they are trying to move into a new product or new area. You need to follow these companies religiously every day so that you would understand this company from in and out and top and bottom. Next, you need to understand that target jobs and target role is something that's good, but you always need to have a plan B, and plan B is your backup role. If in case you are not, I would say, if in case you are not fresher and you are a seasoned candidate, then definitely you can look for a role that aligns with your previous experience, something who's coming from, I would say, a testing background, or someone who's coming from a marketing background. Then the marketing or testing could be his backup role. I understand that many people come here for a career switch, but you need to have a backup role, because Irish market is a market that looks for your experience in the past, that how it relates with your current masters that you are doing in. So these are, rather, I would say, interrelated to it towards each other. So you should have a plan B and plan A in mind. Plan A is just what you are targeting, and plan B is something that is related to your past experience. Now, how do you differentiate the two? As I just explained, that the target company or the target role is something that you're looking forward after your masters, and your backup role is something that aligns with your previous job role. It would be an ideal condition if you are able to connect your previous experience with your current masters, and then look for a role that is a combination of both. But if it is not, if it's a career switch, then you have to differentiate between the two things, and then you have to proceed further. Next, the barrier of entries that you can create. It's very important. It's a very important part of the lean canvas. Are you showing something that differentiate yourself? As I mentioned in my last podcast show, either you distinct or you extinct. There are only two things. And this happens in, that's a very common example you see in FMCG market, that when in a market there are different products, each product try to differentiate itself from the other product. If you would see even the common example of a soap in the FMCG market, if it has nothing to offer, if it just offers that it's in a new package, it's in the new color, it has a new brand ambassador. So every product in the market try to differentiate itself, and you would have to consider yourself as a product to the prospective employers. You need to understand, and you need to make your employers understand that what is the barrier of entries, that is, what are the differentiating factors you are creating within your resume and within yourself as a product. Think about yourself, think about your job description. We'll talk more about this barrier of entries in our next slides, but as of now, this is an important part to differentiate yourself. Next, what is a skill gap you see in idle JD? JD is a job description. You have to look for an idle JD, that you want to go into a job, want to go into a particular company with a JD. You need to look about what is the idle JD, and you need to match that JD with your resume, and you need to find out what is the skill gap you have. If you don't have the skill to understand the skill gap in between, then we'll come on to the next section of this, that who is your coach or mentor. If in case you're not able to match the find skill gap between what is there in the JD and what is there in your resume, then you need an expert judgment from someone, and this expert judgment could be from one of your seniors, or maybe from your coach or from your mentor. But you need to understand that Many times the mentor that you choose is not the not should not be your mentor at all, because of various reasons. But you need to understand what is the mentor profile is, who is he, what he has done in life. Because for example, I've seen many people who post in social media that will I get jobs if I go into Ireland or something. If you would ask a successful man about your possibilities of getting a job, he would just say that yes, you would get it. You would get it eventually because he is successful. He is replicating. He is assuming that you would replicate what he did. And if you would ask about something to a man who has returned to India, or who is not getting a job even after 2 years of exploiting his 1G, he would just say stay away. I couldn't get a job because I failed, so you would fail also. So different people have different assumptions. So you need to select your mentors very carefully. You need to see what is your mentor profile is. You need to see what he has done in life, and does he still have this insights to help you about it. Not every person is a mentor. Not every person is a coach. Your friend could never be your mentor. Your friend could never be a coach, because friends are usually highly inexperienced people. So you need to have someone who's senior to you. More the senior person is, the better is. Sometimes you would need to have two mentors. One is who's a very senior person, but most of the time it happens that a very senior person who has a director level or senior manager level something, they are out of the market. So you would also need someone who is just out of the market, maybe 1 year or 2 years, who understand this market very well, that how the things are going on in this market. I remember during my graduation days, I was asking for a mentorship from a director of top, I would say, big four companies, and he had 20 years of experience, and he passed out 18 years ago. He passed out 18 years ago. He had no idea. He was good in mentorship, but he had no idea that how the current job market is. So select your mentors very carefully. Next come, what is the ingredients of ideal candidate? So if in case you have a mentor, ask this question to your mentor or to your coach, that what is the ingredients for this particular role in an ideal candidate. If in case you find that your ideal candidature of jobs is about business analyst or data analyst, or maybe some expert on cloud computing, then you need to have someone who's in same profile, because a person who's from HR background or marketing background may not have this understanding from them. So choose your mentor wisely, then understand the ingredients of a ideal candidate. If you don't have a mentor, you need to be your mentor yourself. You need to be personify yourself, that how you would mentor yourself. This is also, I've seen many people who mentor themselves. So you need to understand the ingredients of ideal candidate. You need to see, you need to personify something. For example, I would say everyone has a role model. Find your role model on LinkedIn. See that who is your role model that you wanted to be on that job role, and see how you are different from him. And if you find the difference between these two, then you have to add up those ingredients that you don't have but he has. So these are the ingredients, and you will find out these ingredients by you looking at your role model. Next, you need to decide. For example, these are all strategies, but it is a wide possibility that you are looking parallelly of two things: one, your target role, and your backup role. Many times it is seen that people don't get jobs on the target role, but they get jobs on the backup role. But again it's a tough decision, because you have come here for studying or doing masters, or you are coming here, or you're looking for a career switch. If you happen to do the same role that you have been working in your past experience, then what is the movement, what is the reason why you have come up here? So it is not that bad either. I would say that if in case you are not getting your target role, you need to decide at some time that when to take a backup role. But backup role isn't bad either. I'll tell you that how to grow internally towards the target role. So that's related to taking up the backup role. Once you take up a backup role, it's not like a defeat forever. You take a backup role, join in the company, show your skills, that how your masters, your MBA, your data analytics, cloud, or internship, or marketing, or sales, or digital marketing, whatever, how it has groomed you well for doing that role of job. While doing work in the internally within the organization, show your skills there. Make network internally with the business unit head who's taking up that total function in the organization. Show your skills, and then you can grow internally towards that role for which you have done the masters. So don't feel bad if in case you are taking up the same role what you did before doing the masters. It's not bad at all. It's just, it would just delay the things, but it would not die out your masters. So don't feel bad about it. All right, so next we will move on about understanding the skill gap and how to bridge that gap. It's a key important thing here. So how we'll proceed, and most of the times what we do is we just keep on applying without understanding that what is the gap here, why people are rejecting us, why people are ignoring us, why we are not getting through to the right people. Mindless applying is always deadly. Just don't do that. What happens that if we are applied for 10 jobs, we are not getting any results, what we are going to do next? The next logical step, I would say, I would that's not a logical step, but people think it's a logical step, that if you're trying to apply for 10 jobs, you're not getting results, you will apply for 50 next day. It won't do much, because the problem is not about application. Problem is you. Problem is within yourself. So how you would bridge that gap, how you would understand the skill gap? You first need to understand what is the ideal JD. Take out the role of your role model, what he's doing in. Take out some job opening in LinkedIn, Irish Jobs, Indeed, wherever, and see what is the ideal JD. What is an ideal description or skills of someone that company wants to hire. Match that JD, but that is not idle. JD is never in JD. Take an JD from one company, let's make it by Deloitte. If you're taking JD from Deloitte, take the JD of the same role, whether it's open or it's closed, from KPMG, from PwC, from Accenture, or whatever, wherever, and try to understand the common things between them. That what are commonalities between them? If there are some commonalities, you should have those commonalities. You would understand that what you have, what you don't have. And please understand this, many things, many times you'll find the gaps in your skills, and these gaps will not be a quick fix. For example, if someone who's standing in June, if he understands to find that he need to do some certification on Scrum, or maybe some project management certifications, or something else, maybe some HR certifications, then it's not a quick fix. It would take 2 months, or it may take 3 months to do something. And if it takes 3 months, many people don't even start then, because they think that it's June. If I will start in June, I will end up with the certification in August or somewhere in September. But I need to have a job by July. Just don't think like this. Time will anyway pass. Start the things and do not hesitate in investing your education, because here you would earning from your education. You have spent a lot in your masters. You would need to, even if you need to spend some, I would say, some bucks on your certification or some social acknowledgement, you need to spend something on this, and it would definitely pay off. It would pay off 100 times, and I can take a guarantee on that. But that's not the only thing you need to do. You need to see what is the next level of role. For example, if we talk about business analyst or data analyst, so most of the times what we see is we do learn about the job description of the data analyst role. We don't see about what is the next level of that. What is the next person who's one level above in the hierarchy do on this role? Because most often when you will get an interviewed by a person, he would be one level senior to you. You need to understand his job description, what are the things he do. And because if he understand that this guy has the same skills that I have, then that guy can probably help him in his routine job. So you are in turn giving us a distinct advantage on yourself, that to the prospective interviewer, that I have the skills and I can help you in your job as well. A good employee is someone who can make his boss redundant. Try to make your boss redundant by having the same skills that he has. If you can bring out, or you can in-source some of the skills that your potential boss could have, or the next role could have, it would create wonder. See what you can add from there, add them into your CV. Add coronations and bring social proof. If you have a LinkedIn profile, try to have some social proof through some endorsement by some people, endorsement of people who are local to the Ireland, who are in the companies, or who can endorse your skills. It is really good. And if you add up some certifications, it's good. If you add up some trainings that you have undergone in past, it's also very good. You should understand the latest industry trend. If you are into AI, you need to talk about all the things that are going into AI, some kind of You can also put some articles on LinkedIn, and especially people are going on data analytics role or some technical roles, they can put in some content over the LinkedIn or maybe GitHub. This is also important. And if you have attended any training on formal certifications, do mention in your CVs, do mention in your LinkedIn profiles, and this would definitely help. And these are all the things that you can understand with your understanding skill gap. And potentially, if you have understood the skill gap, then you can bridge that. The problem is that many times you don't even understand and acknowledge the skill gap. If you don't understand it, you can't bridge it. Okay, so next we are going to talk about finding opportunity versus creating opportunity. So this is happening mostly with those people who are doing the career shifts, who have into some background, for example, have a marketing background, or maybe who have some development background and they want to move into marketing. It's a completely different switch. And someone who is from engineering, marine engineering role, he want to go into some management roles. So these are a career shift. And the career shift, the problem is you don't find the opportunity for career shift, you need to create the opportunity. So if you're finding the opportunity, it's very good that you look for established company. But if you're looking for a career switch, and if you want to go into established companies, you can only get into through networking. I think you can even get into through the regular phenomena, but the best and easiest way for a career switchers is to go into established companies is through networking through the seniors in the college, networking through various social events or some professional events. This is something that you can create opportunity. But for career switchers, the best opportunity comes on startups. Startups are not that bad either, especially if it is a good startup. Then you can look for the what is the foundation of the company, who is the basic brain on the company, what kind of fundings that they have, and you can easily analyze this that this startup has good to grow, or this startup doesn't have that doesn't makes you a good prospective candidate. So for startups, you can look for those career switchers. I think so it's very easy, it's a low hanging fruit for them to approach the startups and asking them for jobs, because usually those people who are coming from big brands, they don't look for joining the startups. So you can check with startups. Many times in jobs, the startup jobs, they are not advertised at all. They are either advertised in some Facebook groups, social media, or maybe some small portals, or sometimes even the startups get the hiring by some internal, I would say, internal communication between people. So this is how startups work. So you can find a list of opportunity, you can find the list of startups, and you can start selling those themselves, selling yourself by creating opportunity. Send them emails that I'm looking for a jobs and I could work over here, and this is my credentials. I'm coming from this background, but I have studied this. So when I would come back, it will be amalgamation of these two things. And many times startups work in such a way that they want to introduce a new brain from a new perspective at all, from a new background. So it could be a good way of creating opportunity. Next is about internships. Most of the companies need interns, but they don't advertise it because they don't actively need interns. So what they do is they just either they communicate about internships, or they don't communicate about internships. So if you're looking for some company, or if your friend is working in some companies, you can ask him to check with their HRs that if they would be glad to take an intern. Many times they don't have the internship openings, but a person who is working on a business unit or somewhere, if he gets this offer that someone wants to work as an intern, then even if he don't have an opening, he would like to take him, because there are somewhere or the other intern work is usually there. So if you're not getting any jobs, you should start working as interns in the company. You should look for people, you should look for friends. And even if you ask people about if I can get an internship jobs, it is likely that I would say 2 or 3 out of 10 will say that, okay, fine, I can't offer you a job, but I can offer you internships. So you can look for internships as well. This is also good mode of creating opportunities. And all right, so I think so most of the content we are done now. I would just look for your I would just look for your questions and answers to see what questions and answers you have. Let me have a look if you have any questions. We have been quite uh, quite clear enough on this. Give me a minute. Let me see what are the questions that you are putting up now. 1 minute, please. Okay. All right. So I don't have that many questions. Either I'm not able to see it or you don't have that many questions. All right. So anyways, if you have any questions to me, you can post it to me, or I will take up in the career groups. Anything else you want to show, you still have 3 minutes to put into the group. You can put it over there, and then we can discuss on that. Let me have a look. Okay, all right. We don't have that many questions today, so I'm just going to wind up this show at the moment. Let me see you tomorrow again. Not tomorrow, maybe next Sunday in the same podcast. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Me signing off. Thank you. Thank you all.